Hey guys, so I was going to start this video with a quote I used to say when I was a Protestant, and I would always attribute it to Saint Augustine. But since I've become Catholic, I realized a lot of the quotes that I would say a certain saint said was not said by that certain saint. And funny thing was, because I was an anti-Catholic Protestant, but I guess I felt it was okay to quote Catholic saints that were around before the Reformation. And of course, St. Augustine, St. Thomas Aquinas, these were our favorite saints as Protestants back in the day. But before I quoted it, I said, well, you know what? Before I say St. Augustine said this, let me double check. And sure enough, not only do I find out it's not one of my favorite saints, it was said by a twice declared heretic named De Dominis. And the way I found it was I went to one of my go-to scholars who I actually had on the show on Blue Collar and a Scholar, Dr. Doug Beaumont. And he said, yeah, this quote is usually attributed to St. Augustine, but it was actually a twice declared heretic, Dom Dominici, and actually he said it's neither Protestant nor Catholic, because this guy left the Catholic Church, became Protestant, then came back to the Catholic Church and was declared a heretic again. So I don't know how this heretic meant the quote. Maybe he meant it to justify his heresy. I don't know, but I'm going to say it anyway and tell you how I mean it. But first, speaking of scholars, I just want to remind you that I'm doing something really special with a scholar, and I got to kind of keep it stealthy till we do it, and you'll know why, but I'll just give you a hint to kind of give you something to look forward to, and if you don't want to miss it, please subscribe. But it's one of the scholars that I've interviewed on Blue Collar and a Scholar. It's Robert P. George, Scott Hahn, Francis Beckwith, Richard Gallagher, Doug Beaumont, Alan Keyes, and Jules Gomez. So one of these wonderful scholars and I are doing a project, maybe two projects together that I'm really excited about. And I just want to say, whatever God puts on your heart, just do it. Don't make excuses. You know, when God put on my heart to do this channel, I knew I was the most unsavvy, untechnical, uncreative, I just suck with computers basically. And I work a lot of hours on my blue collar job. And then I read the words of the wise G.K. Chesterton. And he said, if something is worth doing, it's worth doing bad. So in that spirit, I just started this channel. And there's many that are a lot better, but by the grace of God, this blue collar kid from Newark is about to do something really special with a world-renowned scholar. And the best part is, he asked me. It was something I always wanted to do, and I always thought about these scholars. And I could never make up my mind which, because they're so brilliant, these guys. And I couldn't make up my mind who would be best. And then the guy that asked me, I was like, wow. The more I think about it, he's the perfect man for this job. And I've had Dale Comstock on here, and he said something interesting. And if you don't remember Dale, he was an operator for the Delta Force. Before that, he was Green Beret, and then he got into the CIA, Black Ops, and now he's literally a mercenary. But super cool dude. And long story short, he said when he went through Delta training, out of 125 guys, and these are all, before you get there, you're already special forces, or special ops rather. Either you're a Ranger, Green Beret, Navy SEAL, Marine, Raider, or Force Recon. So out of those guys, all of those guys, 120 of them, only 6 of them made it through the 6-month course because it was so hard. But out of those 6, the Army only picked 3. So out of 120, there was 3. And Dale said 3 of those guys that didn't get picked were probably faster, smarter, better shooters. But the instructor said, we didn't go for the best guy, we went for the right guy. So sometimes we don't think we're the best guy for the job, or he's not the best guy for the job. But like God told Samuel when he told him to choose David, man looks at outward appearance, God looks on the heart. So anyway, this scholar that's going to do this project with me, he's the right guy for the job, and I'm so excited. And as soon as I can announce what we're doing, I will. So in the meantime, please subscribe so you don't miss this. Now, I made a video the other day and I took it down, and I want to explain why. So the video said, the title was something like, why I think Matt Fradd deleted my comment. And I used the word think like they do in country songs, like a dual meaning, but I never really got to the second meaning. So the first meaning was, I think he did it because it may have sounded like I was insulting the priest, and I apologize to the priest. But the second meaning was, I think because sometimes YouTube has weird algorithms, and I might have had a word in there that they deleted it. Because I do get people that tell me, Rob, why'd you delete my comment? I'm like, I don't delete. I'm a free speech absolutist, or whatever you call it, absolute. I believe in free speech no matter what, even if, you know, you're calling me names. Absolutist. There it is. But it's not a word that I use every day. But anyway, so I was saying it could have been that. So I apologized to the priest because I thought maybe I insulted him. You know, I was busting chops, joking, and I wanted to apologize if I was mistaken in my comment. But now I need to apologize to Matt, because Matt is a stand-up guy, and you know, I said nice things about him, and everything I said I meant. But I think even higher of him now, because after I wrote that, after I made that video, he wrote me a comment and he said, "Dear brother, I didn't delete your comment. Please try and repost it. I respect what you do." And he was very charitable. You know, he had every right not to be charitable with me, but he was very charitable. And, you know, I grew up in Jersey, in the inner city, a long time ago. I'm 57. So sometimes when I use that phrase, stand-up guy, people don't really understand it. So I don't know if it's a Jersey word, or, you know, a Jersey phrase, or just an old man phrase. So for you young guns out there, if you don't know what I mean by stand-up guy, it's a guy you can trust. It's a loyal man. It's a straight shooter. Someone who, if he's mad at you, he's going to come to you. He's not going to go around your back and talk smack about you. He's going to come straight and shoot it straight. Hey, this is what the deal is. And those are the kind of guys that I want to be around. You know, if you know my testimony, there was a lot of fights in the inner cities when I was a kid. And if something went down, I wanted a stand-up guy next to me. Even if he wasn't the toughest guy that I knew, he was the right guy, because I knew he would stand side by side with me. He wouldn't run. So Matt Fradd in my book is a stand-up guy. And the phrase I was going to use that this twice declared heretic used was, in the essentials, there must be unity. In the non-essentials, liberty. But in all things, charity. And the way I take that and the way I mean that is, the essentials of the faith, we must be united as Catholic Christians. And we find the essentials in our creeds. We find the essentials in the writings of the popes and the councils. You know, as a Protestant, they would say that, but something that was essential to one group of Protestants wasn't essential to the other. But Catholics, we know what is essential. The non-essentials, I made a video about it, and I'm not going to even talk about it again, because today, when I was in daily mass, I have a few days off this week, and I was able to go to daily mass. And as I was examining my heart, like St. Paul commands us to do in 1 Corinthians 11:28, if I recall, before we take the Eucharist, we should examine ourselves, examine our hearts, some versions say. Because Jeremiah reminds us that our heart is deceitful. Who can know it? We don't even know our own hearts. That's why these New Age gurus are bankrupt. Because, oh, your heart is good, just follow your heart. No, our heart's wickedly evil. We follow our heart, we're in trouble. We got to follow the Lord and repent and go to confession and examine our hearts every time we take the Eucharist. And as I was examining my heart, I'm like, you wicked little heart. You know, I apologize to the Father, But I owe Matt Fradd an apology because I was quick to react. I should have prayed about it and said, no, you know what? It's probably a a glitch in YouTube. And that's what he said it was, and I believe him. Or his team might have took it down, but he said he doubts his team would have taken down a quote like that. And I believe him because he's a stand-up guy. He didn't have to. I'm nobody. I got 13,000 subscribers. That guy got over 300K. But he took the time out to tell me he didn't do it. And in my book, Matt Fradd is a stand-up guy. And right now, we need unity. The creed is an essential of the faith. And St. Athanasius made that creed because one of the essentials of the faith that was passed down from the apostles is being attacked, the Trinity. And us Catholics must defend the Trinity. But another part of the creed is being attacked today. So we are one holy Catholic Apostolic Church. And there's people claiming to be Catholics for years beating the drum, saying Pope Francis is a heretic, Pope Francis is a destroyer, Pope Francis is bad. And now that Benedict passed away, you have people saying Pope Francis isn't the Pope. And I'm proud to stand with stand-up guys like Matt Fradd, shoulder to shoulder and arm to arm. And there's no doubt in my mind he will be loyal. He will be a loyal son of the church. And there's other men that I know will be loyal as well. But I've never said anything that I had to apologize to them. So I apologize to Matt. And I'm a blue collar guy. I don't even know how long I'll have this channel. Honestly, I'm having some things going on with my job. I say subscribe to Pints with Aquinas because he's going to be around a while. And it's just a great channel. So God bless, stay Catholic, and do me a favor. If you're buying or selling real estate, be loyal to the unborn and go to realestateforlife.org. God bless.